I'm Ryan Claremont from GMO News. I recently sat down with Thad Cochran, a Democrat from Alabama, chairman of the Senate, on the Senate hearing for genetically modified organisms, which is set to be held on Tuesday, May 19th of this year. Through a series of interviews, we're going to show you how certain people feel about GMO labeling.
You can call me Thad Cochran. I'm a Democrat from Alabama. Essentially, I don't have a position. I'm just here to facilitate the Senate committee and make sure we come out with a just and correct vote. Some people believe that genetically modified foods should be labeled in stores so that consumers can know what they're buying, and others believe that that is not necessary, and that's what we're trying to come up with. We've decided on an official court date. It's going to be Tuesday, May 19th, 2015. I'm Thad Cochran, and I approve this message.
As the hearing over genetically modified foods quickly approaches, the debate over engineered foods heats up. The impending court case, certainly one of the most controversial topics this year, will happen on Tuesday, May 19th, 2015. For those unfamiliar with the case, the debate is over whether or not FDA should require genetically modified foods to be labeled. The following data illustrates the most recent poll covering the public's opinion on genetically modified foods. Over 90% of people have heard of GMOs. Around 30% of people believe that GMOs are helpful and do not mind if they are widely used. Around 50% of people are completely against GMOs. Nearly 20% of people are not entirely sure what GMOs are. Over 90% of people think that GMOs should be labeled accordingly. And about 50% of people feel that GMOs are not safe to eat, while the other half believes that GMOs are safe to eat.
I got the survey. I got it, but I didn't feel like I had enough options. I wasn't willing to choose I think they're all bad or I think they're all good. I don't think that it's all bad because I think that GMOs are, they came about because we want to feed more people. And, you know, as far as feeding a growing population, GMOs can, genetically modified organisms can help do that. Well, geez.
You go measure it.
Yeah, I think that food should not need to have labels like your orange juice shouldn't have a label that says contains real juice. You know, like you should. It's orange juice. It should contain real juice. Mostly, the thing that I think is the most frightening about all that stuff is the plants that have pest resistance in them, because
I feel like that's not good.
Yeah. And you know, I don't live my life to one extreme or another in just about any realm. So like, Riley's walking around right now eating an Oreo. I don't think that's gonna kill him, but I do think that he would be healthier if he was eating a carrot. But yeah, do I think about what my kids are eating and what we're doing for the generations ahead? Absolutely.
So they know how to become resistant to the insects really easily, so they have to spray them a lot, which is leading to a depletion of the topsoil, and also the way they're genetically modifying the food, there's been so what is that? It leads to cancer and bad things, and they're they don't want to label them because they're oh, people are going to be afraid, they won't buy them. But the thing is it hasn't been around long enough for them to even be able to know what the effects are. So it's if you want to avoid them, you should be able to avoid them because they don't know what the effects are yet. So when it says natural on your food, it means absolutely nothing. You can slap natural on anything.
I feel like they've been doing it for a really long time though.
Oh yeah, you can say it. You can put it on the box. I don't know what it's gonna say. What would it say? GMO? Yeah, I don't know what that is, so I'm just gonna eat it because they're pretty good. But yeah, maybe they do give you cancer, and I'm a pretty big fan of strawberries, and I feel like I like the ones that are pretty perfect. Oh, just some big, juicy strawberries. Yeah, I like those. But it could be bad for you later in life, but yeah, I guess everything is, right?
Hello, I'm Benjamin Higgins. I'm an owner of 3 Hannaford stores in the greater Portland area. I definitely disagree with the legislation. I do not think GMOs should be labeled. It would bring a lot more difficulty to my day-to-day life, as well as cost a lot of people a lot of money. I would say that in general, there's no reason why someone should be against them. There's no scientific proof of GMOs having any impact on someone's health. Labeling of these GMOs would be so vague. There's so many products that GMOs are already in, everything from vitamins to dairy products. If the animals were fed GMOs, would they have to be labeled? Or, you know, who is to decide these limits of GMOs? My products will definitely have to be more expensive afterwards. You know, when you label a product, in general, the products, they probably would sell less. In the state of Vermont, they've passed this law already, and products that are labeled with this GMO sticker do sell less. So I feel like I'm very worried that I will lose a lot of customers in all 3 of my stores.
I'm Barbara Wilson from Maine, 29 years old. This is my first of many to come, and I am pro-legislation for GMO labeling. I am pro-legislation for GMO labeling because I believe that there's not enough scientific evidence to prove whether or not GMOs are good or bad for us. Therefore, we feel like we are being tested like guinea pigs. Very much so worried about possible mutations to my child. If this legislation is passed, I'll be able to tell my baby that I made a difference.
Hi, I'm Peter Southam. I have an undergraduate degree in biology from Dartmouth College and a master's in toxicology from MIT. So, as far as I understand it, GMOs are well, mostly plants, but I guess they can do animals as well, where they've taken a gene from a different organism and put it into an organism in which it doesn't usually exist. So, for example, they've been putting a gene for Roundup resistance into corn, which makes the corn resistant to the pesticide Roundup, so that they can then plant the corn and spray this pesticide all over it and kill all the weeds, but the corn will still grow. Now all these plants are Roundup resistant, and there are some concerns about that. Well, so in the case of corn, corn's wind pollinated, so there may be people who don't want Roundup resistance in their corn that they're eating, but they can't help it because the gene for the Roundup resistance gene blew across even national borders, international borders into Mexico and made their corn GMO even though they didn't want it to be. But I think that it's really hard to understand what you're doing and what the long-term possibilities are when you release these organisms into the environment, where they could really disrupt ecosystems and things like that, because you just don't even know what you're doing most of the time. You know what gene you're putting in, but you don't know how that's going to cause that organism, whether it's a plant or an animal, to behave in its environment, and that could be really problematic. I don't see how it would be harmful to let people know that their food has something in it that perhaps isn't normally in it.
Hello everybody, I'm Newt Gingrich. I'm a Republican senator from Alaska, and I am against GMO labeling. This country's in a lot of debt right now, and I think that would negatively affect our economy. That's just the biggest reason. I'll save the rest for the hearing. I just want to let them know I'm for the people of the United States of America. I'm not for healthy foods. I mean, they're great, but you gotta think people of the United States of America first. That's our priority. I'm Newt Gingrich, and I approve this message.
Thanks for listening. Stay tuned to watch our footage after the court hearing. We will have some exclusive footage from inside the courtroom as well. I'm Ryan Claremont from GMO News. Thank you for listening. Make sure to catch our next broadcast.